We are back again, once again, with the Patriots Only Please podcast. As always, I am one of your hosts, Jeff C.
Mr. Soley.
Of course, yes. And so every week our technology just keeps getting better and better. So not only are we recording this for posterity, so you can watch later on, but we are also streaming. Today is the first, we streamed to YouTube before, but today we're streaming to X, our channel on X. We're also streaming to Rumble. So everybody that supports us, all fellow Patriots, please check us out, like, follow, and subscribe there. Of course, as you know, we are patriotsonlyplease.com. So check us out there. And as I said, like, subscribe, and follow at Patriots Only Please. All right. So, man, it has been a banner few weeks. We got a lot to talk about, and the election fallout just keeps on getting better. I'm loving the post-election analysis, especially from, voices on both sides. James Carville had some interesting things to say. Jordan Peterson, obviously. So I'm going to let you dive into the post-mortem, and yeah, man, let's take it away.
Well, it's the left isn't learning. The left isn't changing its tune. We've got mayors and Democratic mayors and governors around the country already virtue signaling about how they're going to resist the deportation orders. And, of course, Mr. Holman's coming right back at him and saying, I agree. You're willing to be arrested. I'm willing to arrest you. Can't wait. Can't wait to get started. You know what I mean? I love this guy. I love his no nonsense approach. He's exactly the kind of person that Trump needs to take this seriously and to get it done. The American people have spoken, and they want this. We want to, again, we're talking about deporting the criminals. Criminals, the people on the most wanted lists, the worst of the worst. I mean, that's who we want. I found this out before we started the episode. I was watching a clip from the Fox 5 team. As we're having this conversation right now, and this is something I think is fascinating that the Biden administration never mentioned this. The press secretary, the fake news. As we're having this conversation, there are 1.4 million illegal immigrants with deportation documents, meaning they're supposed to get the hell out and just haven't left, and no one's going out to arrest them and kick them out. 1.4 million. So if Holman starts there, legal deportation, just finding those people, that's going to be a monumental effort. But I mean, it just shows you how big this job is and how serious Trump's taking it, because the American people have spoken. Yeah,
absolutely. And, again, he was delivered a mandate, and hopefully his appointments will be confirmed. And, I, of course, am very excited about Holman's reaction to a lot of these, especially the mayors and the politicians in states like Arizona and California. He's like, great, cool, bring it on. We're happy, like you said, we're happy to arrest you. This has truly been an example of a political resurrection, a triumph in every way. They tried to do everything from political assassination to physical assassination. And the guy just keeps, he's unstoppable. It's so much more. I was thinking about this the other day. The energy is so different, because if you watch some of the debates and some of the just some of the coverage from the 2016 election, Trump is, they just looked at him as a clown. He's just some TV personality, right. A businessman, entrepreneur, real estate magnate, and all of that, was absolutely true. But now it's just so different. I mean, he's been the president. He went through everything to literally under fire to claim re-election again. And now he's not. Look, on the left, people are always going to say, "Oh, he's a joke," and they're not going to take him seriously. But this is serious stuff. So
yes, it is. Yes, it is. If I may hop on that thought. Please. I've got some notes here that I want to read about how amazing what Trump has accomplished. It's the single greatest American political achievement in modern history. He defeated the Bush dynasty, the Clinton dynasty, the Cheney dynasty, the Obama dynasty, the Biden dynasty, and the entire corrupt machine behind Kamala Harris. The truth, you know what I mean? He defeated every Marxist prosecutor, every vile hoax, every DOJ witch hunt, every communist persecution, every illegal act of censorship and surveillance, and he ruthlessly politicized and weaponized justice system. He defeated all of it. And in 2020, when he was running, they were talking about his threat to the global community and all these things, and he lost to Biden. Now he's back. So I guess what I'm saying is the power of the American people is more powerful than this global elitist meme we keep hearing about. I'm not saying it's not real, but when we come together as a country and use our vote as our voices, we can change the world, and that's what's about to happen.
And it's very refreshing that is still true, because I think after 2020, a lot of us, at least on this side, we felt, defeated and deflated, like, oh my God, there's this insurmountable machine that we'll never be able to overcome. And, lo and behold, we were able to do it, and we literally made it too big to rig. I mean, everything you said, plus the media, plus, just people, because literally, I mean, as crazy as it seems to us, Kamala and the left do have legitimate supporters on their side as well. So to overcome,
I wouldn't say legitimate, I would say illegitimate, but supporters nonetheless.
Sure, yeah. So I mean, look, this is the biggest political comeback, and we talked about this a little bit before we hopped on, but some of the post-election analysis, even on the right, is, you know what? Yes, it's almost like we had to go through those 4 years of crap with, with the Biden administration and all of that. It's kind of the blessing in disguise, because now more so than ever, the public, it's not just us on this side, the conspiracy theorists, or, that are just saying, oh, this is corrupt and this is all, pretty much a big political scam. Now it's out in the open. Everything, all of these so-called conspiracy theories, from politics to media to celebrity, it's all crumbling. And this is stuff that we saw 4, 6, 8 years ago in some cases. But now everybody is seeing it. It's so undeniable, regardless of what side you're on. So yes, the last 4 years sucked. And I know we're still kind of at the tail end of this administration, but it's one of those things, I'm not the most religious person in the world, but they say, the Lord works in mysterious ways.
Right.
And so maybe we all had to go through this crap for the last 4 years. So now Trump can be taken seriously, and not just Trump, but his supporters and all of these things that we've been shouting about for the last 4 years. It's all come out in the open.
Well, if we believe in the deep state, and we believe that Joe Biden is a member of the deep state, which over half a century in government, he's part of the deep state, like George Bush. So I guess we're talking about now. We're in the first quarter of the 21st century, right? Think about it. During Bush's regime, we invaded Iraq to bring them democracy. Complete failure, and we didn't get the oil. Trillions of dollars lost. Hundreds of thousands of lives lost for nothing. We went there based on a lie. If you think about it, Afghanistan is Joe Biden's Iraq. It's just in reverse. He just cut and ran and left $100 billion worth of our equipment there, American lives, plus all the Afghan surrogates who for generations have been helping America control the Taliban, left them there, abandoned them. So the people that are supposed to manage the world don't know what they're doing. That's why, but they have entrenched interests in running the world and having these wars, right? So Trump is a what's the word? A monkey wrench to all of that.
Total disruptor.
So he's a complete disruptor. So that's the tale so far of the first quarter of the 21st century, is that Trump is larger than life, and he really is this outside force that they can't control, and that's why they hate him. But they fear him as well, and I think him winning a second term, not consecutively, just shows that 2016 was not a fluke. 2020 was the fluke. COVID was the fluke. You know what I mean? So, and mail-in ballots. The first time doing this grand mail-in ballots thing. This time around, we figured out what was going to happen. We had people on the ground, we being the RNC, much more of an offensive way of handling the election, which I think helped Trump a lot as well. They weren't able. The shenanigans were minimized. But just think about that. The people who were supposed to be Joe Biden, with the amount of experience, 36 years as a senator, 8 years as a vice president. This guy should have been the best president in the world. He was the absolute worst. So, you know what I'm trying to say? And I think that's another interesting thing, another little tidbit I wanted to throw in there. The Democrats have moved so far to the left that, think about this. Kamala Harris won D.C. by 87%. The second bluest state that she won by 30%. So what that means is D.C. is more than twice as far to the left than any blue state. So Trump is going back into that world, as a conservative Republican in a city that's dominated by the left. That shows you how far away from real Americans DC has become. Hence the swamp, epithet. But I mean, for real, like DC is no longer even trying to be in the middle. No objectivity whatsoever. They're so far to the left that Kamala Harris was actually moderate to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And
Just think about that.
Another point is that, and this bears repeating, and a lot of people have been pointing this out. That campaign spent 1.5 billion in 3 months, right? Mm-hmm. And they still have a $20 million deficit. If that's any indication as to the wasteful spending and these people having no clue how to manage anything. And, and look, I think that it's going to be revealed that it was just once again, just a massive money laundering scheme anyway.
Yeah.
So,
of course.
But that's just one more indication that not only was she grossly incompetent and grossly just not fit to be commander and chief or president of anything, but neither is the whole party. It's all been one big corrupt show that's been going on for 50, 60 years now. And the last president that tried to call out the deep state in any significant way got his head blown off. And the second one to try to do it almost got his head blown off.
Yep.
So,
and I agree with everything you said. And it's just another reminder of how monumental what Trump has been able to accomplish really is, and how important it is that he did it. And I was still going to read some more notes about what about how monumental he defeated the corrupt legacy media, the political class, the donor class, the pundit class. He defeated not one but two Democrat nominees in their rigged primary. He defeated the corrupt Democrat Congress. He defied death itself and survived multiple assassination attempts. Trump did the impossible over and over again. The biggest victory ever seen. I think the Democrats knew Kamala couldn't win, but they thought it would be competitive. They're saying that they thought she would, but I think that the real people that really run the operation just wanted to sort of, I don't know, like plant the seed for her in the future, maybe. But I think when Joe, I don't know, but just think about this: that the party that talks about Trump being a threat to democracy planted Kamala. They selected her. She wasn't elected. No primary. I mean, everything they did throughout the entire process showed how little they think of the electorate.
Yeah. And the other, look, and even her own internal polling, it's been revealed now that they never had her beating Trump. So that last, the polls that were coming out of Iowa that showed her, ahead of Trump by what, like 3 or 4%. That was
like 10. No, like 10.
Yeah, like 10%. Complete bullshit. All of it was complete bullshit and gaslighting. And for that alone, I think people just need, like, it bears being called out, cleaned up. I'm really excited about what Homan's going to do with immigration. I'm really excited about what Elon and Vivek are going to do with the Department of Government Efficiency. I mean, it's time, I think, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on. And it's funny because you say, oh, Trump's entering DC as a conservative. Interesting. An anti-war, anti-corruption conservative. Wasn't that supposed to be the domain of the left for decades and decades?
Not to mention defending free speech. That was a liberal platform forever. My entire adult life until Hillary Clinton, until Obama, and talking about Obama, he really blew his credibility on this campaign. He spent 30 days in a row on the road campaigning for Kamala for naught. We saw a side of Obama that we didn't know existed. I didn't know it existed. How much of a sellout he really is. I mean, for him to vociferously defend her the way that he did, to chastise African American men to vote for her when he knew they wouldn't, just shows how bought and sold Obama is. He's as bad as Joe Biden, just younger and different. You know what I mean? Different shade of politician. But I mean. Oprah, all these people at the DNC, everyone that spoke at the DNC where they mentioned Trump's name 540 times, no policies, every one of them have been shown to be completely full of poop.
Yeah, which is why I'm glad to see
completely out of touch with average Americans, completely out of touch with their own constituents.
Yep. I've even heard, friends on the left saying, kind of expressing now, like we almost feel like, okay, we're safe to kind of come out of the closet as Trump
Yeah.
supporters and as conservatives. But but even, some of our left leaning friends are kind of starting to feel comfortable kind of pointing out, oh, maybe Obama, I was a little disappointed with Obama, and certainly was disappointed. And now I think over time it's just going to get a little easier for them to wake up very slowly and realize that they've been hoodwinked for the last
Yes.
couple of decades by
Yes.
that side of the aisle. So it's all good
I've
stuff.
found some new content creators on YouTube that are former Democrats. A lot of them very young, very smart.
Yeah.
That were leftist activists from when they were raised that way until their early, young adulthood. And and Barack Obama and now Biden, they're like, they did some research. They just went online and did a deep dive and like found Thomas Sowell and found Ayn Rand and found, logic and reason, and realized, holy cow, I don't really believe in anything as a Democrat. I just believe what they tell me to believe. Literally,
Yeah.
there's nothing there to stand on. There's no foundational anything anymore. The Democrats have chosen to go the identity politics route to the death of their party.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got to get back to having real policies that work for real Americans. And I don't see that happening anytime soon because they're muck and mired in this identity politics stuff, which got them to lose in a landslide. Because Americans are tired of being called names and being gaslit for things they've never done or said. Just want to be in the middle and live a good life. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are we Nazis? Because we think that, immigrants should come here legally and taxes should be low, and then we shouldn't be involved in all these foreign entanglements. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Fine. Yeah, that makes us Nazis. Okay. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's name calling and gaslighting is not a platform. It's just hostility.
Yeah.
So you don't like the people who are supposed to vote you into office. Guess what? You didn't get voted into office. Surprise, surprise. And if they don't change their tune in the next, cycle, we're looking at. Because I don't think we're giving JD Vance enough credit. I know that you and I had differences about him being the pick when it happened. But now that I've watched him on Rogan and watched his kind of evolution through the election cycle, he's a hell of a candidate, man. He's a really good politician. He's a smart guy. He's authentic. You believe him. When he talks, you believe him. He's a completely different speaker than Trump is. But the fact that Trump picked him and the fact that he can stand on his own, I think he's a great standard bearer for Trumpism, after Trump is finished. What I'm trying to say is I see JD Vance winning in 4 years if Trump's second term goes the way that we hope it goes, and JD Vance is the vice president. Who the heck wouldn't vote for him to be president? He's still young. Absolutely. He's a young guy, and he'd have 4 years of direct tutelage from Trump. I can't think of a better candidate.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little more of him because, look, I get the reason why they can't really keep him in the same place, too much in case for security purposes. But he has kind of, because Vivek and Elon and Tulsi and RFK and the rest of the cabinet is getting a lot of the attention. So, it's sometimes I'm like, okay, well, where's JD? He's there. I'm sure he's definitely there. But, I'd like to see him get a little more attention.
I think in the transition period, which is only another month or something, I think probably Trump has him running around the world, setting up meetings, talking to world leaders, businesses, talking about what's next as his proxy. And that would make sense because it's all about Trump right now. He's the hero. But I think that I think JD Vance is going to be a fantastic vice president. And I'm excited to see how he handles the slings and arrows the Democrats are going to throw at him.
Well, he's certainly going to be a much more present vice president than Kamala was because, he's going to take much more of an active role. And look, obviously, that position is kind of not, if not ceremonial, it's kind of just meant to be, you're kind of waiting in the wings, but you still can give him something to do, right? Give him a job. And I think JD will be a lot more proactive than Kamala ever was.
I agree, and the difference between the two is that we know that Trump's a lame duck. He's got 4 years and he's out constitutionally. He can't run anymore. So I think Trump, if he's smart, and he's very smart. I shouldn't have said that. Hopefully, Trump will give JD a bigger role than most vice presidents get, more opportunities for speaking, more visibility. particularly near the end of his term, as he's hitting into the fourth year. Hopefully, he starts putting JD forward more. Like, hey, the VP is going to take this one because he's awesome, and I'm on my way out at that point.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. You had sent me a clip
yes,
earlier today of kind of another election postmortem between Piers Morgan and Jordan Peterson, two of our, we love, we're both huge Jordan Peterson fans as well. So I wanted to play that and kind of, again, I'm sure a lot of people obviously have seen this, but just it kind of reiterates again what we've been saying all along. So check this out.
If I may, really quickly, what it does is talks about one of the visceral reasons why Trump won. We've talked about policy and him beating the Biden dynasty, and we talked about the political machinations of being at that highest level of politics. But these two geniuses, in our opinion, talk about the visceral strength of this guy. Roll the clip.
Absolutely. All right, here we go.
Well, okay. We'll start with a practical parallel. I mean, the Trump election campaign was a great drama, and there was a kind of victimized femininity, let's say, on the Democrat side, with Kamala Harris and her cohorts really emblematic of that. And then what did we have on the Trump side? Well, one of the most dramatic portrayals, maybe the most dramatic portrayal of what we had on the Trump side, was Trump's response to being shot. It was like this.
Yeah.
Right? Go to hell. You're not stopping me, no matter what. And like, as Musk pointed out, that's not staged. And it was so interesting watching the victimized Democrat response to that, because their response was open-mouthed amazement that anything like that could even be possible. It must have been a hoax, because no one could possibly react like that. Yeah. It's like, well, wrong. Trump could react like that, and despite whatever faults he might have, that's what he's like. He got up and said, "You're not stopping me no matter what." And more power to him. And I don't think it's an overestimate to presume that won him the election.
I totally agree.
And you can see the immense literary drama there.
You know what, Jordan? I've just written exactly that. I've done the Spectator magazine diary this week. And I said, when I think back, I spoke to Trump 4 times in the last few weeks of the race, including a week after he got shot, when he saw me talking about it on TV in America, and he called me. And we had a fascinating conversation. He said it had reinvigorated his faith in God, because he said God must have wanted me to survive. Because he said literally he was alive because he moved his head half an inch to read some charts on the teleprompter. And if he hadn't, he'd be dead. And secondly, that I said to him, amazing you're back out doing rallies so soon. And he went, well, I knew if I didn't do it quickly, I may not ever do it, which I thought was one of the very few times I've seen any vulnerability for Trump. But of course but the balls, not just to stand back up when he got shot, to stand back up saying fight, 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 when he didn't know if there were other shooters out there. But secondly, to get back on a stage in front of 20,000 people, none of whom you know, a week later, and to keep doing it, sometimes much bigger crowds, especially when there was a second attempt to kill him a few weeks later, where literally a Secret Service agent walking ahead of him on a golf course saw the barrel of an AK-47 poke out of a bush. And if he hadn't, Trump would have been there 4 minutes later and would be dead. So twice in the space of 2 months, Trump came very, very close to being assassinated. And yet it didn't stop him getting back out there. And I do think, when I think back on the whole thing, there were lots of components to why he won, not least the incompetence of the opposition. However, I think regular Americans, and the rest of the world actually, but regular Americans looked at his strength literally under fire, and his resilience and his determination to keep pounding on. I think they looked at that and thought, you know what, after everything that's been thrown at him, the weaponizing of the justice system, literal attempts to kill him, and all the rest of it, look at him. He's still pounding on. And it's a really admirable quality in a man, right?
Absolutely. Well, and you pointed out that it wasn't only the fact that he immediately leapt up on stage and basically said, go to hell, you're not stopping me.
Yeah.
But then also that he continued to speak and didn't take what would you say, even perhaps warranted precautions. It's the perfect thing to do psychologically, because if you shrink away in consequence of that threat, you live in fear for the rest of your life. And Trump's determination was obviously, no matter what, I won't live in fear. And that's the same decision Job makes, by the way, in the book of Job. It's a decision not to lose faith and not to live in fear, no matter what, right? No matter what. And that is a manifestation of the spirit that is indomitable. And I think that is a reflection of the image of God.
Yeah.
And so,
Jordan,
I don't think the divine providence with regards to Trump wasn't the fact that he turned his head at the proper moment. The divine providence with regard to Trump was that he jumped up immediately afterwards and said, "You're not stopping me."
Yeah.
Absolutely. Look, I wouldn't. The day that the assassination attempt happened in Pennsylvania, and a lot of people said this too. Oh, Trump just won the election, and I thought the same thing too. But then that was back in July, so there was plenty of time, between then and now that anything could happen. And and there were a couple of times I'm just thinking to myself, like, wait a minute, this really, like, we're really kind of worried that maybe Trump might lose. This is the guy that literally dodged a bullet and got up and fight. I mean, no, that's just right there. That is such a historic moment, and it means so much to the movement and to his supporters, and just showing everything that Piers and Jordan were saying right there. I mean, it's 1,000% true. And it's funny looking back in hindsight now that we're a few weeks, past the election, and now that, we've won, just to even think for a second that, there could have been a chance that Trump would have lost, even, because you're going to be playing that clip forever. I mean, that's
Yep.
history now at this point. And then
Yep.
not to mention the second assassination attempt that we
Yep.
wouldn't have known about unless a Secret Service, they wouldn't have seen the barrel coming through that. I mean, it's so many close calls. I mean, it's not just the assassination of a president. It's not, or a candidate. It would have just sparked the next civil war. I mean, and especially now that we know what the numbers are, the amount of support that Trump had.
Yep.
Could you begin to imagine? I mean, it's just, I don't even like think about it.
No, I mean, I think, it's funny. They're still saying they thought that Kamala was going to win. The operatives I'm seeing on the media, on the mainstream media, are still saying they really thought she was going to win. She was going to be close, but she was going to pull it out. The blue wall would hold, all those things. I can't believe anyone that really knows how to be a pollster these days, which I don't even know who that is, could have seen her winning in any real way. I don't know about him winning the Electoral College and the popular vote. I didn't see that coming, but I'm glad it did, because it made the mandate even that more fossilized. He won the popular vote, because against Hillary Clinton, she won the popular vote. He won the Electoral College. He won both this time. It was a landslide. And it's what we needed. It was the red wave we didn't talk about in advance. It was the red wave that we wanted in 2020. We got it. Because Trump is a force to be reckoned with. He's a force multiplier. And the 4 years of Biden being Biden, watching a Democrat at the highest level fail completely, foreign policy, endless wars, open borders, terrible economy. I mean, it just showed you that, again, someone who's supposed to know how to manage the world over half a century at the highest level of American politics is a complete idiot. Complete idiot. You know what I mean? It just proved, and he's their best shot. Think about it. Think about how shallow the Democratic talent pool is right now.
Yeah, well, and there's already talk about running AOC in 2028. Okay, great.
I hope that would make us salivate. We'd be so happy. My point is that's a crazy idea, but the fact that she's even on that list shows you how shallow that party has become because of their terrible policies, their terrible worldview, their lack of belief in average Americans' ability to do the right thing. You know what I mean? They really don't trust average Americans to be good citizens.
No, well, and ultimately, I think it all just comes down to corruption and holding on to power, and
That too.
and
That too.
laundering all of the tax money. So
No,
again,
but
it'll be
what I'm saying, Jeff, is like going into the school system and telling and showing kids these obscene books, and then wondering why are parents screaming at us at the PTA meetings? Well, because you're feeding our kids this indoctrination sex crap, and they're 6 years old. Like, I mean, you're putting boys are competing against girls in sport. It's just they're turning the whole world upside down and going, what? This is the way it's supposed to be. This is how we think the world's supposed to be. So we're going to force you to behave this way, and you're going to vote for us, right? Like, absolutely not. We're not going to vote for more of this. So they had a shot. They had a shot. They had 4 years, and it was a complete. That experiment failed miserably. I think Joe Biden will go down as one of the worst presidents in history. Kamala, one of the worst VPs, one of the worst presidential election. Just
candidates. Yeah.
Candidates. Thank you. Just a complete shit show. And we now know that it couldn't be a better mandate for us. And it's better for the world. And this is a great thing for the world with what's happening right now. Because, I mean, Trump's already got peace negotiations going on with Zelensky and Putin. He's already got Hamas getting ready to talk to Bibi in Israel. Iran is shaking in their boots, and they should be. So he's starting to right the ship without even having started the job yet. The South China Sea, China, Taiwan, they're not going to mess around with Trump in there. They know he means business. So
he's already been more effective in pre-inauguration than Biden was in 50 years of a political career. I mean, he's look,
exactly.
The conversations going on between the United States and Mexico right now with their new president. There's a little bit of back and forth there, but things hopefully will be trending in the right direction. And if not, hey, look, if they don't cooperate, fine, great. You'll suffer the consequences. Same thing with Canada. Same thing with the rest of the world leaders. I think once Trump was elected, I mean, the world took notice and said, okay, whoa, this is okay. Now it's time to get serious again. Now America's going to be strong again, which I think
exactly
it engenders a national pride. I think everybody is feeling a lot more confident. I certainly am. Thanksgiving, it was a nice Thanksgiving. So,
it was glorious. It was glorious.
So I'm loving everything about this, and I'm just hoping and that this sustains and we can maintain this through his entire presidency. Hopefully, obviously there's going to be some pushback on his cabinet appointments. Hopefully he can get, most, if not all of them confirmed and pushed through. The whole Matt Gaetz thing was an interesting turn of events, but that, some people are saying that, Trump might be playing a little bit of 3D chess there as he's been known to do. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's not. But either way, though, nothing stops Trump for maybe assigning Gaetz as a special counsel. So there's always ways to get these people into positions where they need to be to fix the country. We've got one shot. We've got 4 years, because if we don't do it now, then it'll just 4 years from now in 2028, there'll just be another establishment politician from whatever side of the aisle. And then we'll just start down this road again. So I think this is a truly historic moment. It's not just a once in a lifetime. It's a once in a generation. It's, we're coming up on 250 years here pretty soon. And, now it's what Vivek says, this is our 1775 moment. We can finally right the ship. So I've got a lot of hopes for this administration. They're starting strong. They've campaigned strong. The team that's assembling is like the modern day political Avengers. And I couldn't be happier, to where the state of where our country's going. So, anyway, on that
note, we should mention too, Trump defeated the lawfare. Every single case has been dropped. Jack Smith, Georgia, everything's been dropped. The Supreme Court ruling, Jack Smith's losing his job, which is fantastic. That was all smoke and mirrors. The Democrats will do anything to win, and these last 2 years should be an example to anyone who would ever challenge that statement. That their party is the party of anything to win, divide people by race, color, income, lawfare, fake documents. Staging evidence, anything to win, and that's why their party is built on sand.
Yeah,
and ours is built on a rock. And ours is built on a foundation of values that have carried us 250 years.
Absolutely, and you know what? If those crimes that Trump committed were so legitimate and so terrible and heinous, then why would they just disappear like that. I mean,
Exactly.
so that's an indication that it was all bullshit from the beginning. And look, we're not going to convince anybody on the left, which is fine, because now we've got 4 years to just show them. And hopefully in 2028, even more people will convert, just like people converted from 2020 to now. So I see nothing but good things. The future looks bright, as David likes to say. And yeah, man, I think that we're entering what could potentially be the next golden age for the country. I certainly hope that that's true. So anyway, so look, on that note, we've kind of run through a little bit of our time here. As you know, of course, patriotsonlyplease.com. That's basically just our little link tree, so you can find us everywhere. And if you don't feel like going there and maybe subscribing and catching up on some of our older episodes, you can always just like, subscribe, and follow us wherever you happen to be at Patriots Only Please. So as always, I'm Jeff, and you are?
Mr. Soley.
Mr. Soley, yeah. And we are just kind of, this is our take on the current state of the union, and we're loving watching this play out. It was a nail biter for a second, but was it really? Probably not. But anyway, it's all interesting, and so far so good. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on the political happenings, and let's just keep rooting for these appointments to get pushed through. Any final last words before we sign off?
Keep on trumping.
I love it. All right, folks. Until next time, we are Patriots Only Please. Bye for now.